Takuma Ino, better known as the Pooh Shiesty Sourcerer, is a fairly small character in the story of JJK. If you're caught up with Season 2, you would recognize this fella because he dresses like he's about to rob a bank. Bro wears a shiesty when battling. Ino is classified as a Grade 2 sorcerer, although he easily has the skills to become a semi-Grade 1 sorcerer, and Nanami mentions this. Speaking of Nanami, Ino worked really closely with him before and even during the Shibuya incident, and he really looked up to Nanami as like his mentor. We first see them together when Nanami gets the call to go help Yuji fight Mahito at the high school, and Nanami tells Ino to destroy all the curses in this room, and he might be recommended for a Grade 1 sorcerer. So in at least Nanami's eyes, he has the skill to be a Grade 1 or a semi-Grade 1 sorcerer. He also works with Megami and Yuji in Shibuya and really shows that he cares about the younger students at Jujutsu High, which I think in general shows that he's a really valuable asset to Jujutsu society. Ino has excellent hand-to-hand combat skills and an extremely impressive innate technique called Auspicious Beast Summon. So this technique is activated when Ino lowers his ski mask and goes into Shiesty mode. I just love the scene in the Shibuya arc of Ino getting his ski mask on. It looks so sick and really kind of made me fall in love with this character, even though he's not around too much. Once Ino has his mask on, he essentially becomes a medium capable of summoning 4 auspicious beasts called Kaichi, Riki, Kirin, and Ryu. So the lore behind these 4 creatures is actually quite interesting, so I want to dig into it here. So cue the yap sesh. The 4 mythical beasts are based on the Chinese constellations following the Earth's rotation in view of the stars beyond the sun. The 4 gods are the Azure Dragon of the East, the Vermilion Bird of the South, the White Tiger of the West, and the Black Tortoise of the North. These 4 beasts not only represent a direction, but also a season and even an element. The tortoise is water/winter, the tiger is metal and autumn, the bird is fire in summer, and the dragon is wood in spring. These 4 creatures center a yellow dragon, which is represented as the whole Earth. So with that lore dump out of the way, I want to analyze Ino's auspicious beasts he has in his arsenal and how they fit in with these 4 Chinese mythical beasts. And I think this is really cool, and maybe at the end we can speculate if he has an ability that relates to that overarching yellow dragon. So his first auspicious beast summon is called Kaichi, which is a horn with a spiral pattern. Ino is able to imbue this with curse energy and fire it off as a projectile, so this is kind of his ranged attack, and he uses this before Toji is summoned. I think that this ability can be closely tied to the White Tiger of the West since it is related to metal, and of course this is a metal piece that he fires off. And this thing actually follows and tracks enemies kind of like a guided missile, so it does not stop until it hits what it's intending to hit, which is a really cool ability. The second auspicious beast is called Riki, which is an ability that covers Ino in cursed water that allows him to have increased mobility and a small cushion towards attacks. We see him use this in Season 2, and his movement in this scene was super fluid. See what I did there? So Ino's next 2 abilities are going to contain manga spoilers, so if you haven't read up to the, current chapters, skip off now, jump away. The third auspicious beast is called Kirin, which essentially allows Ino to not feel pain anymore. It's kind of like a drug, although there are downsides to this ability, so let's get into those. So once Kirin is activated, Ino does not feel any pain at all pretty much, although he becomes extremely tired and is unable to sleep. And as you can see in this panel, he kind of just lays on the ground and he can't move. So that is kind of, a bad ability if you're in the middle of a fight like he was against Sukuna, but we're going to talk about how this was still a really impressive feat by him. So in the fight with Sukuna, after Maki had been Black Flash for Women's History Month, Ino was assisting Kusakabe and Maki in kind of jumping Sukuna, and he had been slashed to bits. He was getting cut up, and I really don't know how he didn't die here, but Kirin was definitely helpful. I imagine he had to use it after the pain became too much, and he had to kind of sit down, heal, back out of the fight, because at the end of the day, he's a Grade 2 sorcerer, so he's not really cut out to be fighting the King of Curses here, but he still held his own for pretty much the entire time. The final auspicious beast is called Ryu, and Ino summons a serpent-like dragon through his hands. We see him try to use this the first time against Toji when he was respawned, and it does not go well. Obviously he gets his ass beat, but he tried to use it, and we do actually see him use this later and just hit Sukuna dead on with this. After gathering cursed energy around his hands and sending the dragon out, he is able to crash into any enemy he's pointing at basically, and it actually throws Sukuna into the wall, which, we don't see too many characters moving Sukuna like this. So these 4 abilities line up pretty well with the Chinese constellations I talked about earlier. The dragon obviously being a dragon, water for the tortoise, metal for the tiger, and the bird isn't quite represented here. Instead, Ino just has the pain nullifying ability. So now that I've talked about Ino's 4 auspicious beasts and his abilities at his disposal so far, I want to analyze the fight that he was involved in Shinjuku. Of course, that's against Sukuna, because I think that this really shows how valuable he is as a sorcerer, and anime-only watchers, I mean, the only scene they really know about Ino is him just getting torched by Toji, and I think even a testament to that is he survived Toji's beating, which I don't think many characters could say. So in chapter 245, where Higuruma sentences Sukuna to the death penalty, we get a panel of Choso, Kusakabe, and of course Ino. It says the sorcerers of Jujutsu High sprang into action, and we see Ino on the right hand side there. He's one of the first people in the group to jump Sukuna. In chapter 246, we get Ino's probably most hyped scene of the entire series, where he's flying through the air and catching Nanami's dull blade. He lands a direct hit onto Sukuna with the blade, and he's surprised with how strong the technique that they imbued into the tool is. And of course this is Nanami's cursed tool, so they imbued it with the 7-to-3 ratio technique, which is super strong, and it's really cool to see that he was the one who got access to this tool. And there's actually a scene in a future chapter where they discuss who is going to get this tool, and we'll cover that as well. But yeah, Sukuna is surprised by the strength of the tool and is caught off guard, although he ultimately just kicks Ino away. So having the dull blade just adds another, tool to Ino's already impressive arsenal. The next time we see Ino is when him and Kusakabe are planning who's going to go into Yuta's domain after it breaks. And yeah, he's just here briefly, but he's getting ready for the next stage of the fight with Maki. So at this stage of the fight, Maki and Sukuna are absolutely obliterating the city and just tearing each other apart. But Ino still manages to throw some hits at Sukuna. So he shoots his horn at him in this scene here, and then Sukuna does the really zesty, pose where he's hitting him with slashes, and Ino just kind of tanks the slashes. I don't know if he has RCT because he got absolutely cut up by Sukuna here and still somehow survives. He gets slashed, kicked away, and you can even see in this scene that his hand is actually completely severed off, so he got completely cut up by Sukuna. The next time we see Ino is in a chapter 257 flashback where he's asking to use Nanami's curse tool from Gojo, Shoko, and other characters. They are kind of casual about it, as Ino mentions, and he's asking because, they knew Nanami the longest, and he wants to get their approval before he goes out and just takes the dull blade weapon. They say the weapon is the best in Ino's hands, and Gojo even says that Nanami trusted him more than anyone else, as Ino prepares to use Ryu, his 4th mythical beast. Ino launches Ryu straight at Sukuna, who is completely caught off guard by this, and of course slammed into the wall. I've kind of brought this up earlier, but super awesome scene. Sukuna kind of cuts the dragon apart. Ino rushes Sukuna and hits him with the dull blade, which is easily stopped by him, but he stalled just enough time for Yuji to come in and just hit Sukuna with a black flash. Just an absolute goated assist here, in my opinion. So then we see him laying on the ground using Kirin, his 3rd mythical beast, and he says sorry to Nanami. This is way out of his league, but he did such a great job. We see him pretty much say this exact thing. He says, someone on my level, I think I did a pretty good job. And says, kick his ass to Yuji. The last of Ino we really see in the manga is him using a simple domain to survive Fuga. And of course, he gets swapped out by Todo with one of Mei's crows. So he survived the fight. And, what a goated side character. He set Yuji up, and he did so many, moves to buy them time and just distract Sukuna. And for being a grade 2 sorcerer, I think Ino is one of the most goated side characters of the entire manga. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Ino. I really, really love this character. I hope he survives the series. And, I would love another scene with him, but I think that it's coming to an end. He probably doesn't have any more action scenes. He kind of did his part, and, he did his part really well. And I think at the end of the day, that's all you can ask from him. So let me know what you guys think of this character. I really enjoyed making this video and kind of learning more about Ino, so let me know if there's any other characters you want me to do some deeper dives like this on. But thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, thank you guys for letting me yap, and I appreciate you checking the video out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.